Hi everyone, welcome back and I hope you're doing well. And in today's video, I'm going to demonstrate how I use my favorite plugins from Sonible as well as IK Multimedia to transform my mix ready for mastering. To demonstrate, I have done two mixes, one without any of the processing and the second one with the processing. And I also level match them. So let's go and have a listen and compare. And then I will show you how I achieved it. First, the one with no processing. Now, before I also continue, a couple of disclaimers. Sonible Plugins, they have been kindly donated by Sonible, and I really thank them. They have been donated for testing and reporting bugs purposes as well as evaluation. But at the same time, and I have purchased Sonible Plugins as well. The one that I can record, the last one I purchased was their Pure bundle, which had the Pure Limiter, Pure Comp, and Pure Verb, which I might do some demonstration later on. And as far as the IK Multimedia plugins that I've used, I have purchased all of them. Some actually IK Multimedia will give you for free if you are a member. So go ahead. If you're not a member at IK Multimedia, go ahead to their website, sign up for free. You will get some free plugins as well, very useful ones. But at the same time, every now and then, IK Multimedia will give a free license of a plugin. So for you, it's just a win-win situation. But all of the plugins that I'm going to demonstrate in this project, in this video, I have purchased them from IK Multimedia. Okay, now that all of that out of the way, the project is very, very simple. This is my own song. This is my own project. It's probably about 20 tracks all up, including vocals and everything else. And all the sounds are coming from my Yamaha SX900 keyboard. So I would say sampled. Okay, there's no real instruments in this. That somehow makes it easier because I don't have to go into each channel, each track and edit them because they are clean already. Let's open up my console. As you can see, drums, just using TDR Nova just to tame some of the drums, especially the hi-hats and cymbals. I've just got with a threshold there to tame that. Other than that, few EQs for my claps to make sure that it's nice and clean. And for my guitars, again, they're a little bit boomy, coming from the keyboard, even from the keyboard to give some volume. So I am taming them as well the same way. Otherwise, there's no other plugin on there. And let me see. Yep, there's no other plugins. Of course, for my vocals, these are scratch vocals. And as I'm practicing them, so that I don't get annoyed from my voice getting a little bit pitchy, I use Grelian. My favorite plugin for auto-tune before I do my final recording of my vocals. And once I've got that right voice, then most likely I'll go into Melodyne, edit and correct some of the notes that I'm a little bit pitchy, and Grelian comes out. Sometimes even stays in there because I really like it and really, really handy. And I've done reviews on Grelian as well. And other than that, I've got some reverbs and delay. Again, just a quick note, after the reverb, I always put some EQ so that get rid of some of the muddiness from the low end and some of the high end, because reverbs, if there are some sibilance coming through, they just sort of repeats. And if you've got deep voice or something low frequency in your reverb, and sometimes from the algorithms of the reverb, the muddiness comes up, that frequency around 200, 300, 400 hertz. So I tend to sort of high pass them to get rid of them, and you will see that in both cases there. And then I've got my buses. I've got my drums bus, my bass bus, guitar bus, keys, lead bus, and then they all feed into my mix bus. So mix bus is my all of the instrumentation music. And then I have my vocal bus where all my vocals come through. And you would have noticed that I only have smart comp, as I mentioned, because all of the recording is coming from my keyboard and I don't have to EQ them much. So if there's no reason to EQ something, it sounds good to your ears, even if you are recording a live instrument. So if you record it well, then you don't really need to EQ. So in this example, I'm just using Smart Comp, and then I've got TDR Nova here, which is again my favorite. I'm getting my vocal to the right level, getting rid of some sibilants. It's working as a de-esser as well. And then the Smart EQ, again, I select vocal low and make it learn. And this is what Smart EQ3 thinks my voice requires as an EQ. And I am happy with that one, and I'll leave it at that. I might actually move this down so I don't need to increase anything below that one. And I'm quite happy with that. Sometimes I can play around, and if I feel my voice is a little bit still dull, I can still click around sort of the 2K to 3K, double click, and now I can adjust that level as well to give me a little bit more balance. Or if, as you can see, Sonible thinks that around 500 hertz, I need my vocal to go down. So if I need to press it further, I can double click and then bring that down even further in that sense, and then make it a little bit that way. So that's how great Smart EQ3 is. So you can get your bass for it, the AI or algorithm, to learn and tell you what you should do, and then you can have a listen and still adjust things so that it fits just right to your ears. Okay, so I will leave that as that. And then I'm using Smart Comp. Again, I'm using May vocals and just taming it and adjust the levels so that it's perfect. And then after that, my main bus, I like to use a VU meter right at the beginning to make sure that what's coming into my mix bus is at the right level. And in this stage, it's the scale is 6. That means when the needle hits 0, it's minus 6 dB. So that way, I'm not overloading my master bus. I know it's floating point, won't distort, but I like to keep it that way so that I know my plugins, when the audio source is coming into them, they are at the right level. And then after that, I've got Smart EQ, Smart Comp, RK Multimedia Saturator, and then I've got RK Multimedia Classic Clipper. And for this, I'm using the Sonible Pure Limit that I've recently purchased. And this is fantastic again, especially when you want to quickly do a mix down and want to get your song loud enough without any clipping. I guess my next purchase would be to get a Smart Limit from Sonible, which will be pretty much what will replace. So I used to use the IK Multimedia Stilt Limiter, but in this project I'm using Pure Limit to demonstrate it. We are looking at both True Balance as well as True Level from Sonible. Now, one wish I have, if Sonible can possibly update in the future, is I can't fit them on my laptop screen. They're fine on my main PC when I'm using it because I've got a big big monitor, I should say, and everything is visible there. But on my laptop, because it is an old one and doesn't have a big sort of screen size, it doesn't fit, and I can't even reach down to adjust. I don't know if it is possible to adjust. So that's my only sort of comment I have in regards to the GUI of both True Balance and True Level. So Having said that, let's have a listen first, the unprocessed track, and then we will compare the true balance, our tonal balance, and then as well as the level using true level. Now, as I mentioned earlier, because all of the instrumentation is coming from my keyboard, the Yamaha SX900, you can see there's not much to do. My tonal balance matches the universal spectral reference item that true balance thinks. This is before any EQ applied to any of the tracks, other than some of the guitars that I mentioned. So on my master bus, there's no EQ enabled. So for my ears, it sounds just right and great, but of course adding the Sonible EQ on my master bus and adjusting it will make things level even better as well. And as to my level and my loudness and LUFS, you can see it's quite low because all my levels are low. I'm not pushing, there's no compression, there's no limiters, nothing on there, no saturation, no clipping as such. So it's minus 17.2 LUFS, it's quite low. And my LU range is 9.6, which is quite low as well. And the dynamic range, 17.2 dB again. So it's peaking about minus 1.4 dB. So that's how you mix. And once you've got sounding great with your tonal balance, and you've got nice levels, steady levels, then the next stage is to get it, with compression, EQ, saturation, clipping, and limiting is pretty much what you need to get the level up loud enough, but not too loud, and give enough headroom, and leave enough headroom, I should say, for mastering. So let's see what it sounds like when it's same level. Let me just reset those. And let's have a listen again with all of the processing applied. You might get a little bit louder, so watch your ears. Right, as we can see from the graph, my tonal balance sounds much nicer because of the smart EQ on my master bus or my mix bus, balancing even more, and I manually adjust some of it as well. And as far as levels, I've got loudness of minus 9 LUFS. That's pretty much what highest I push for. I normally go to minus 10 LUFS. Now, some people will go, but it's got to be minus 14 LUFS for Spotify. But that could change, right? At any time. Spotify could change. Apple Music can change. And all the other streaming platforms, they may change in the future. Or you might want to press it onto a CD. If you want it loud, that's how you get it loud. It's nice and clean, not over-compressed, but loud enough so it's nice upfront and all the instruments can be heard to the listener. That's what I push for. Minus 14 is something if the song is a little bit more dynamic, more slower, more romantic song, and then I'll definitely go to minus 12 dB in that sense. But for fast energy song, you got to go to minus 9 LUFS. So that's how I push my songs onto the platforms, and in the end, the result is fine. Customer happy, get paid, and that's all it counts. So I like to take this opportunity again to thank Sonible for providing me some of the plugins for me to evaluate and do a review and demonstrate it to you. And I hope this video was informative and helpful to you as well. If it was, make sure you give me the thumbs up. And as always, thanks for watching and have a great time making music. And I'll catch you in the next one. Cheerio, guys.